Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of English Story Time with Mark. I'm Mark, and today the story we are going to be reading together is called After the Race. It was written by James Joyce and published in his collection of stories Dubliners in 1914. James Joyce, of course, was an Irish writer. So let's get into the story now. After the Race. The Dublin streets were full of excitement. The Gordon Bennett Cup, a famous car race, had just taken place. People from all over Europe had come to watch. The event brought energy to the city, and the air buzzed with conversation and laughter. The Irish crowd cheered for their favorite racers, proud to see Ireland on the international stage. Jimmy Doyle, a young man in his 20s, stood by the street. He had spent the day watching the race with his friends. Jimmy came from a wealthy family, and his father had worked hard to give him a good education. He had even sent Jimmy to college in England, hoping he would learn how to move in higher social circles. Jimmy loved the fast-paced world of the rich, but he wasn't always sure how to act. He tried his best to fit in with his European friends, but sometimes he felt out of place. Jimmy was part of a group of young men from different countries. There was André Rivière, a Frenchman with dark eyes and a confident smile. There was also Vilona, a cheerful Hungarian who loved music. Jimmy had met them while studying abroad, and now they were in Dublin together, enjoying the race and the lively city. After the race, Jimmy and his friends climbed into a car. They sped through the city, laughing and talking about the race. The thrill of the fast car made Jimmy feel alive. He was happy to be part of the group, even if he didn't always understand everything they said. The car stopped in front of a fancy hotel, and they went inside for dinner. The dining room was full of people, many of them wealthy and well-dressed. The men wore suits, and the women wore elegant dresses. Jimmy felt a little nervous. He didn't have the confidence of his friends, but he reminded himself that he belonged here. His father's money and connections had opened doors for him, and he wanted to enjoy every moment. At dinner, Jimmy sat between André and Vilona. They talked about cars, music, and their plans for the future. Jimmy listened carefully, trying to join the conversation when he could. He admired André's charm and Vilona's humor. They made everything seem so effortless, while Jimmy often worried about saying the wrong thing. After dinner, the group moved to another part of the city. They entered a private club where the atmosphere was warm and inviting. The walls were lined with books, and the furniture was soft and comfortable. A fire crackled in the fireplace. Jimmy relaxed a little, glad to be out of the noisy restaurant. The men decided to play cards. Jimmy didn't usually gamble, but he didn't want to seem boring. He joined the game, sitting at the table with André, Vilona, and a few other men. The game started slowly, but as the night went on, the stakes grew higher. Jimmy began to lose money, but he told himself it didn't matter. His father would give him more if he needed it. The room grew quieter as the game became more intense. Jimmy's heart raced as he placed his bets. He knew he should stop, but he didn't want to look weak in front of his friends. He kept playing, hoping to win back what he had lost. Andre watched him closely, a small smile on his face. By the end of the night, Jimmy had lost a lot of money. He felt sick, but he tried to hide it. He didn't want his friends to know how worried he was. Andre and Valona didn't seem to notice. They laughed and joked as if nothing had happened. Jimmy forced himself to join in, even though his mind was full of regret. When the game ended, the group left the club and walked through the quiet streets. The city felt different now. The excitement of the day was gone, replaced by a calm stillness. Jimmy felt the cold air on his face as he thought about what had happened. He realized he had been trying too hard to impress his friends. He had wanted to feel important, but now he just felt foolish. As the sun began to rise, Jimmy and his friends returned to their hotel. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, unable to sleep. He thought about his father and how disappointed he would be if he found out about the money. Jimmy promised himself he would do better in the future. He would learn to be more careful and not let himself be carried away by the moment. In the end, Jimmy knew he had a lot to learn. The race, the dinner, and the card game had all been exciting, but they had also taught him an important lesson. He didn't need to prove himself to anyone. He just needed to be himself. So that is After the Race, written by James Joyce. I hope this will inspire you to explore this story or any of the other writings of James Joyce. He's considered one of the greatest writers of modern English. Please like and subscribe, follow my channel. We do readings for primarily for ESL students, but anyone else who is interested in hearing classic stories in English, read in a slower speed and in simplified English. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.